Hello, this is Chris Turnpaugh here at Turnpaugh Health. Wanted to put out some information regarding COVID-19, the coronavirus. Start with some signs and symptoms of infection of the virus would be things such as headaches, cough, fever. Be aware of that. Also, risk, being aware that it can last outside of the human body for about 72 hours on hard surfaces and up to 24 hours on soft surfaces such as cardboard. So it does last longer than we originally thought. We originally thought it had several hours to a day survivability, but it does last longer than that. If you're at high risk, which would be immune compromised or elderly, it's probably a good idea to self-quarantine yourself for up to 2 weeks. So prepare yourself and keep yourself in a self-quarantine. It's a great idea to have some social distance. So if you are going to be around people, try and keep a distance of greater than 6 feet. It's very important to try and do that. They're talking about flattening the curve, and I want to explain that a little bit. So if this is the curve up and down, this is the rate of infection and who's infected. If we have a spike, lots of people will be infected at one time, which will extremely tax our healthcare system. So if we flatten that curve and we have the same amount of infected, but over a longer period of time, so if we had everybody infected in the next month, then everybody would need medical attention at a very similar point of time. If we flatten that curve and the same amount of people were sick, but over a year or two, then we would have an increased ability to support and treat those patients, as there would be more beds available in our healthcare system. So that's what it means by flattening the curve. Now, by flattening the curve, we are going to extend the life of this. However, we'll have better medical care for more people. So respirators and beds and those who are in need of urgent care will be better able to be taken care of. What can you do other than some social distancing and self-quarantining? So one of the biggest things we can do is stay healthy ourselves. And what are some mechanisms we can do to stay healthy? What was interesting that ABC News came out and said vitamins and supplements are of no benefit. So your diet is plenty healthy, so you're fine. We know that's not true. In fact, we went into the scientific literature to show otherwise. There is a tremendous amount of peer-reviewed scientific literature that simple involvement may have a profound effect. So the first thing is try to relax. I know that's about impossible at this date and time, but stress reduces your immunity and makes you more susceptible. Some simple things to do which are not expensive and pretty readily acceptable and have been used for decades. One is something called N-acetylcysteine or cysteine or glutathione. NAC is readily available, very inexpensive. NAC has shown to inhibit viral replication. It improves part of your immune system called Th1 and natural killer cells, so it improves your ability to fight these things off. It's used to protect the lungs. It's used to protect the mucosal linings of your body. So NAC, very inexpensive, very beneficial. Vitamin A has been shown to reduce mortality with Ebola. So we used it during the Ebola outbreak and it decreased mortality. It shows a decrease in mortality from all significant viruses. Vitamin D is also a regulator of the immune system and helps to decrease the severity of many infections. I did put together, because everybody's running out of these things, and it's not just meat at the grocery store, but it's all of our supplemental support for our immune system. I put together a couple viral packs that has some zinc in it, some vitamin C in it, and some antiviral stuff in it, or viral support in it. We have a few of those left here at the office. There is other mechanisms. There's a product, if you're at risk, it's called SBI Protect. It stands for serum bovine immunoglobulin. Helps to protect the mucosal lining and has been shown to be effective in preventing contracting other coronaviruses. Now that one's a little bit more expensive, and I would recommend that only for elderly or those immune compromised. If we do progress higher, there is a prescription of something called a peptide, which you can do, which has been very effective in viral support. It's called thymosin alpha 1. The downside to it is it comes in a little tiny insulin injectable, which you have to inject twice a week, but it increases your glutathione, your natural killer cells. It's an FDA-approved medication which helps to inhibit viral replication. It increases certain interleukins like interleukin 12 and interleukin 2 and decreases interleukin 4. For those of you who know what that means a tremendous benefit to your immune system. Helps to increase natural killer cell activity. Those are very important for us. So those are some things we can certainly do. A healthy diet is very important because the diets can be inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. The more inflamed you are, the more likely you are to have a more severe symptoms with contracting the virus. I would also, not to panic anybody, because I think most people will get this and recover, but I think it's fair to say that it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I think we should act as if there's a high probability that we're going to be exposed and possibly get it, and realize that most of us will recover from it. So I think that if you self-quarantine, if you're concerned about it, is the best defense. Social distancing, the next best defense. My family will be taking all of the support, as well as many other things that I have in the office to help with that. We have had some patients who are ordering meal replacement shakes because they last longer. It keeps them from going to the grocery store, and they kind of get a multivitamin and their carbohydrates, proteins, and fats from a shake. So you just mix it with water or whatever type of milk, almond milk or coconut milk or dairy milk, whatever you want to put in with it. So there's some different alternatives. When we talk about washing your hands, a lot of people are using Purell or alcohol. Soap and water is actually more effective than alcohol. So use soap and water when you can, and when you're traveling or moving around, it's good to use the alcohol. So we'll update you. This will probably all change in the next 15 minutes as everything is changing dynamically right now. And I know that stress and anxiety is at an all-time high. We'll get through this. We're here. We'll continue to update you, even if it's from a social distancing of just through the internet. Please reach out with questions, comments. I will be on top of this to try and answer as many as I can. When I don't know, I'll tell you that I don't know, but luckily I have a pretty extensive network of people that will be able to find out answers if I don't know the answers. So stay healthy, stay positive. We'll get through it. Please contact me with any questions. Thank you.